All right. Welcome everybody to our brief presentation just with a little overview of the political science program at Clemson University. I'm Troy Tiemann. I serve as the academic advisor for freshmen, sophomore, transfer, and change of major students in the political science department. So anybody that is just starting their Clemson journey will work one-on-one with me through orientation all the way through at minimum a semester, but hopefully at least a year or two before they're transitioned to a faculty member for their academic advising. So I work with each student personally. You might have heard Karen and I talking before the meeting started. I work with each student individually to craft their schedules for fall, summer, and spring semesters. So before any student is able to sign up for courses, we do ask them that they meet with their assigned advisor. So it's a nice opportunity for me to kind of get to know each one of you as we go through your journey at Clemson. And also for you to kind of use me as a resource to get connected to the university and learn more about your degree. A little bit of an overview of the political science department. We were established in 1972, and we are currently home to about 450 undergraduate students. And our students come to us for a variety of reasons. You know, there isn't one set path that a political science student may choose to go down. So just to give you an example of some of the career opportunities that our students have pursued, law and legal studies is a very popular option for a lot of our students. Many of our students will choose to go on to law school or study something within the policy analysis or the legal studies realm. We also have a good amount of students that want to go into public office. Maybe it's working for a political campaign, maybe it's running for a public office themselves. And we have Clemson alums at the federal, state, and local government levels. So I know some folks before the meeting talked about internships in DC, kind of Clemson's ties to the DC area. And without going into too much detail right now, I can personally assure you they are very strong, and you will find the Clemson orange all throughout DC. Additionally, we do have students that will go on to pursue public administration or public policy roles, often going for their master's in public administration or public policy. We also have students pursuing journalism. They go on to teach, whether it's at the high school level, middle school level, or even the collegiate level. Others will go into the private sector with more banking and commerce related roles. And then again, that policy analysis is gonna be another popular option for our students. So long story short, there are a lot of ways to use the political science degree at Clemson to meet your educational goals and really meet your career goals as well. So I think the next few slides, we're going to cover a little bit about what you'll study as a political science student. So to kick things off, we have 2 degree types you can choose from. And within those types, we'll actually break down what you can expect with your specific coursework. So we do offer a Bachelor of Arts in political science. That does require a minor. Within the Bachelor of Science degree, we require a concentration and possibly a minor, depending on which concentration you choose. And we are absolutely going to talk about more of those in greater detail. At the core of all political science degrees, there is a set of courses that are always going to be taken by all political science students. So the first one on there, you will notice every political science student does complete the modern language requirement through the 2020 level. So normally that, if you're starting at the 1010 level, which is the introductory level, that is a 4-semester sequence. We do offer a modern language placement test. So if you do have a background in a modern language, you can take the test and see if you can test or score higher and take those higher level courses. We also have a 1 credit hour introduction to political science, the American National Government course, and then students have the choice between an intro to international relations or an intro to comparative politics. In addition, we do require the intro to political theory and the principles of micro and macroeconomics. So if you're going to be a political science student at Clemson, you can anticipate to take all of these classes regardless of your degree type or concentration area. We'll start things off with the Bachelor of Arts degree. And with the Bachelor of Arts degree, this is really an emphasis on broad political science topics with some opportunities to fine-tune your political science coursework as well. So for the Bachelor of Arts degree, when we look at some of those higher level political science courses, rather than having a specific focus, kind of like our Bachelor of Science with our concentrations, we're going to ask our Bachelor of Arts students to complete a course of American government, a course of comparative politics, a course of political theory, one course in international relations, a course in public administration and public policy, and then 9 credits of any political science course at the 3,000 level or higher. So if it's not clear already, you're going to have a very broad education. And when I mention these singular courses in American government or comparative politics, that doesn't mean we only offer one course to choose from. In fact, there are 5 course options to choose for American government. There are about 7 for comparative politics, 4 for theory, about another 6 to 7 for international relations. So there are a lot of ways to tailor this Bachelor of Arts degree towards your specific focus while maintaining that broad application of political science topics. Even with the 9 credits of any political science course at the 3,000 level or higher, that is essentially political science electives where you can select a more tailored coursework to fit your needs. So if you have an interest in the more international relations, the global politics, you can take all 9 credits in global politics or international relations. If you would prefer more law-focused coursework or maybe American politics, you can choose those kind of topics in political science and still apply them towards those credit hours. The Bachelor of Arts degree also requires an additional literature course, 6 credits of history coursework, and a fine arts requirement as well. For those folks that may want to pursue a double major, so at Clemson, a double major is 2 Bachelor of Arts majors on 1 degree. That is also a fairly popular option with our students. So if you do want to go the double major route, the Bachelor of Arts degree in political science can be a great fit for you. When we look at the Bachelor of Science degree, this is a good fit for students who want to have more math and science specific coursework, and also someone who wants to have a little bit stronger concentration with their political science coursework. So we offer 5 different concentrations in the Bachelor of Science degree. So we do offer American politics and global politics. Both of those require a minor as well. In addition, we offer political economy, public administration, and public policy. Each of these concentrations comes with their own specific set of coursework. So if you can imagine, within American politics, you're going to take the majority of your higher level political science courses with a focus in American politics. So you will have to complete 15 credit hours. So that's about 5 3-credit hour courses in American politics, or about 15 or 5 courses in global politics for the respective concentrations. Political economy will have coursework that emphasizes the intersection of economy and political kind of interactions between the two. Public administration and public policy will have coursework that touches on a variety of public administration and public policy legislation, backgrounds, and roles from other departments on campus as well. So it's a great way to kind of get a foundational public administration or public policy focus, but you're also going to be pulling from different departments on campus, looking at how different subject areas or different topics really use public administration and public policy in their roles as well. And the BS degree allows for students to complete what's called the dual degree option. So for students who have a Bachelor of Science degree, they can actually work to complete 2 separate degrees at the same time at Clemson. So that is another opportunity for students. It does look very different than a double major, but that's why we have folks like myself here who can really help a student, should they go down the dual degree or double major route, to actually plan out coursework and really plot that course moving forward. Additionally, with the Bachelor of Science degree, we will require specific math and science requirements. So our Bachelor of Science students will complete either Business Calculus 1 and 2 or General Calculus 1 and 2, in addition to a statistics course, our Introduction to Logic class, an additional natural science with a lab requirement, and Political Science 3410, which is our research methods course. And I know a lot of folks who signed up for this event have an interest in law school, or at least a passing interest in becoming a lawyer at some point. So this slide should really start things off with a pretty exciting percentage in front of you. So we have an 88% matriculation rate into law school programs. The national average is only 74%. So we are basically pretty good at getting students into law school and really preparing our undergraduates for a successful career in law. Now, at Clemson, pre-law is not a degree, that is not a concentration, and we do not offer a pre-law track. In general, law programs welcome all degrees, all majors, minors, and backgrounds. So at Clemson, you can minor, major, concentrate, you can take any kind of degree path and still be on a good situation for law school. I will say at Clemson, the most popular major for our law aspiring students is political science. We also have a dedicated pre-law advisor. So Dr. Tim Garrison was hired about the same time I was, about a year ago now. And his entire role is to work with future students, current students, and even Clemson alums who have a focus in law school or want to consider law school in their future. So he'll sit down with you one-on-one as early as freshman year to really plan a course and really plan a trajectory towards law school. We also have political science faculty members who assist in preparing for law school. Some of our pre-law advisors in our department teach LSAT prep coursework and offer additional law school workshops and resources for our students. So really, if you're interested in law school, the resources are going to be all around you, whether it's Dr. Garrison with the pre-law advising office, or even within the political science department, we have several of our faculty who serve in an advisory role for law school as well. And just a couple examples of our law-related coursework in poli-sci. Political Science 4360 is our law, courts, and politics class. Very good appetizer for those students who want to go on to law school in the future. Then we also offer a few constitutional law courses as well. And this is not an exhaustive list. And I think one of the benefits to really coming to Clemson for pre-law, if you will, is just how open the entire university is to law-related experiences, law-related groups. For example, even as a political science student, you have access to philosophy-related coursework, history coursework related to law, criminal justice, sociology, psychology. All of these are able to be combined with your political science coursework, and even their out-of-class or student groups or their extracurricular experiences are also open to you. Clemson really takes pride in their collegiality, so you're not going to feel siloed into political science only. Our students are very well connected and really spread out across campus. So don't necessarily feel like if you're a political science student, you only have to stay within political science. We really want you to branch out and engage with other departments on campus as well. Talking a little bit more beyond the classroom as well, I know a lot of folks have an interest in internships, and that is one of Clemson's strengths. So whether it's an internship through Clemson University Career Center or working with our political science department to secure those internships, they are plentiful for you. I think the Clemson Career Center right now is the #2 rated career center in the entire country. So that is something that is always going to be available for you to take advantage of beginning freshman year through your last year at Clemson. And most of their resources are entirely free. So take advantage of them. That is one of my soapboxes, and I won't get on it tonight, I promise. But take advantage of the Career Center and all of their resources. They can help you find those internships. They can help you prepare with your interview prep. They can help you write resumes, help you write cover letters, help you network with other Clemson alums. The possibilities to utilize their Career Center resources are virtually endless, and I don't think students take advantage of them enough. For folks that want to do an internship in DC and complete coursework at the same time, we do have partnerships with American University and George Washington University for their Washington semester programs, where you can actually complete coursework at these universities and an internship in DC at the same time. So it's a neat way to kind of get that kind of inside the United States experience, internship experience, and actually complete coursework at a similar university, all in DC. Additionally, our students will secure internships through the Washington Center and the Fund for American Studies, two very popular political science internship routes. For folks that might be interested in joining research projects in political science, our faculty are always eager to connect with students who want to get involved in research. It is incredibly easy to join a research project. It's sometimes as simple as walking up to your professor after class and saying, "Hey, I really enjoyed the content that we're talking about today. Do you have any research projects going on about it, or what type of research are you doing?" And faculty are more than happy to talk about their research. That is a big part of their job, big part of their calling in life, and they are always eager to share it with students. And they are always eager to take on more research assistants. We also offer what's called creative inquiry teams at Clemson. So these are more campus-wide projects where students from different degrees and backgrounds can come together as a team to answer a core question or address a core issue on campus. So this is a really great way to kind of connect with other students across campus to work towards a common project and publish research under a common goal and a common team. For study abroad opportunities in political science, we do offer a spring semester in Belgrade and a summer in the Balkans program as well. Both of those are going to focus, if you can imagine, pretty heavily on international relations and global politics coursework. Also, this is not your only study abroad experience available to you. These are just two provided through political science, but we go anywhere in the world. So if you do want to get an experience in a different country, we can work with our Office of Study Abroad and really connect you to different experiences while still staying on track with your degree in political science. And a few other political science related opportunities, we do offer Clemson Model United Nations, there we go, which is actually a 1 credit hour course in political science as well. So you would actually come together for regular meetings, regular practices, and get ready to compete intercollegiately and sometimes internationally against other Model United Nations teams. I know in the last few decades or so, we've had Delegate of the Year award in Stockholm, and we also won Delegate of the Year award when Duke held their Model United Nations contest the last couple of years. So we have a pretty strong track record of winning in these Model UN events as well. We also have mock trial and moot court opportunities. These are held through our philosophy department, but are still absolutely open to political science students. Again, also for course credit. Another interesting and kind of immersive opportunity is the Lyceum Scholars or the Lyceum Fellows program as well. So this is actually held through the Clemson Institute for the Study of Capitalism through our College of Business on campus. And it takes a great books approach to look at the moral, the ethical, and the philosophical aspects of liberty, freedom, capitalism, our market economy, and democracy, looking to answer, is our market economy, is capitalism just? Is it moral? Is it right? Is it wrong? And it's a very, very immersive sequence of courses you would actually take with a select cohort, completing these courses in a specific sequence. And you would actually have a faculty member in the Lyceum program serve as kind of a mentor for your entire 4 years as well. Lyceum Scholars and Fellows are both competitive. Lyceum Scholars usually has an application process through the high school senior year. Students who perhaps don't start as a Lyceum Scholar can still join as a fellow during their time at Clemson as well. Last one here is the South Carolina Student Legislature. So this is a collegiate mock legislature group for students that do want to get involved in a more congressional side of things and look at the legislation and the practice of it. And you can actually come together and earn course credit for this as well, and actually have that hands-on governmental experience in that way too. Just a couple student organizations within political science and beyond. The Clemson International Relations Association does a great job of hosting speaker events, bringing really everyone from across the world to the Clemson campus. We just had Joe Samsar, who is I always goof his full title up, but he is the assistant director or controller of the Corporate International Trade Association through the United States federal government. And I just butchered his title. Long story short, he is a Clemson alum from 2009, and he's already at some of the highest levels of the federal government looking at international trade and international affairs and how they interact with COVID right now, especially. So he gave a great talk just a couple weeks ago, looking at the intersection of those subjects. We also offer the William T. Howell Pre-Law Society. In addition, we are rolling out a new pre-law honor society as well on top of this. So there's a lot of great ways to get involved in the pre-law realm, international relations. We do offer political affiliation groups like the Clemson Democrats, Clemson Republicans. Any kind of political affiliation there is another opportunity to get involved. And our last button there with Tiger Quest, this is really, and I'm going to date myself because I think this social media platform's a little older now, but it's kind of like Facebook for student organizations, where students can log into Tiger Quest through an online portal and actually view over 500 different student organizations and actually filter by subject area, by different aspects of size, type. Maybe they want to get involved in Greek life with a fraternity and sorority. Maybe it's an honor society. Maybe it's a volunteer group. It's very easy to get connected either through Tiger Quest or through what's called Tiger Prow, which is our annual student organization fair as well that kicks off our year. It's actually a little too easy in my eyes. I was helping a student get connected on Tiger Quest and actually help them look for different organizations and events. And in my helping, somehow I accidentally registered myself, and now I'm a member of the Clemson Agribusiness Association. So it's really as easy as just a couple clicks to get connected. And then my last slide for you is just a little overview of summer orientation. Unfortunately, attendance is required for summer orientation. We will have sessions that start in June and will run through July. Before orientation, we do ask students try to send all of their AP, their IB, any dual enrollment scores or transcripts to the registrar's office. If you took the ACT or SAT and you want to send those scores, go ahead and send those as well. We do recommend students take the Clemson Math Placement Test and take the Modern Language Placement Test as well, just to see how we score, and we can kind of place you in the appropriate mathematics or language courses. And then at orientation, no student can register for coursework without meeting with their advisor first. So at orientation, we have at minimum a 30-minute meeting where we work one-on-one to develop your schedule for the semester. We talk about possible minors, if you want to study abroad, if you want to get involved in research. For those students that may want to double major, pursue dual degrees, we'll start that conversation. We will do everything we can to get you set up and ready to register as part of like the closing of orientation with that registration. So no student can sign up for courses without meeting with me first. So for better or worse, you're working with me for a little while longer. And rest assured, seats are held for class registration at every orientation session. So I know some folks have anxieties about courses filling up if they don't sign up for orientation right away. We have seats set aside for every orientation group to ensure students are able to register for the classes they need. If you're planning on joining the Honors College, they have additional orientation sessions which they will communicate with students pursuing the Honors College. And I think that is plenty of hearing from the advisor. I really want to turn it over to Kara so they can share their experiences a little bit more and talk to you from the student experience, what it's like to study political science at Clemson. And I have a couple folks' contact information on the slide. We have my information, and then we also have a faculty advisor with Dr. Adam Warber. I'll leave this up just for a second longer. Towards the end of the presentation, I'll also have my email address and Dr. Warber's email address in the chat as well, if you want to save it or jot it down at a later time as well. All right, so like I said, let's turn it over to Kara. I think what we'll do, we'll start with a brief presentation, and then we can absolutely turn it over to questions for Kara or myself.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, everybody. I'm Kara. I'm a senior political science and psychology student at Clemson. I'll be graduating in May, and then after that, I'm going to law school. I'm not sure where yet, but we're still in that application process, so I'm excited about that. I currently serve on the CVSHS Student Advisory Board, which is our college that we'll be in. And I also serve as the president of Phi Alpha Delta, which is a new-ish law fraternity here on Clemson's campus, and kind of just getting our roots and stuff. And if any of you have questions about that, we can certainly talk about that later. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here and talk to you guys. I hope you all come to Clemson.
Awesome. And we did have a question that popped up right away. Katie asked, is it too late to sign up for the Lyceum Scholars program for fall 21? That's a great question. And unfortunately, I do not oversee the Lyceum Scholars, but I can get in contact with someone for you. So if you want, you can email me after the event and I can get you in contact with their Lyceum Scholars coordinator, and you can follow up with them about any kind of registration information and application. Any other questions kind of off the bat for Kara? Was there anything in the presentation that y'all had questions about, or was there subject areas that you feel like you wanted more detail to cover? Oh man, you guys are gonna make me ask questions to Kara. That's not what y'all want. So Kara, why did you choose Clemson, and then why did you also choose political science?
Okay, well, I'm originally from Chicago, and after I graduated high school, I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to go, but I knew that I wanted to go somewhere new and kind of get a new experience. And I ended up touring Clemson before I graduated, obviously, and came on campus, and I just loved it. I loved, obviously, like the buildings, and it was such a pretty campus, but that doesn't tell you the full story. I think like the community here is what really drew me in. Like everyone was always so friendly, and I just felt like this is totally a place that I could fit in and like be on my own and away from home, but it would be completely natural and wouldn't be such a tough transition. So I fell in love with Clemson for those reasons. And then I actually started my Clemson career off as just a psychology major with a political science minor. And after like my freshman or sophomore year, as I've been taking more courses in political science, I really ended up enjoying what I was studying. And I talked to my advisors, and it was super possible to make it a double major. So that's what I ended up doing now. And I'm super happy with the courses, and it's a great major.
Awesome. Talking about the law fraternity that you're currently the president of, we had a student. Any more information about that? What are some events y'all do?
Okay, so we are very, very new on Clemson's campus. So, and it's been pretty tough kind of getting this started with COVID. So this year it hasn't been all that we would hope for it to be, but essentially it's anyone can join. There's no application process. And it's supposed to just serve as more of a resource for law school for current students. And we have deals with like these like certain companies that'll help you with the LSAT. Like you get discount codes through us, and we partner with William T. Howell Law Society. I know we talked about that briefly, but we'll do like joint events with them for speakers to come in and talk to you guys. And yeah, I mean, I'm not doing it justice, but it's supposed to be just a great resource for like the application process and taking the LSAT and kind of help you navigate through that whole process.
Awesome. And then we had another question that came in. Were there any internships you participated in during your time at Clemson that you felt kind of got you ready for law school?
Okay, well, this is kind of odd, but I did intern, but I interned back at home, and I got that internship through a connection from people I knew at home. And it was more along the lines of like my psychology degree and more to do with that. It was actually in a bank. So, I mean, it didn't really have anything to do with political science, but I think that the company hired me because they see the value of a Clemson degree. And I mean, having two majors, especially, I think that makes you super well-rounded and good for this work. As far as law school goes, I know that at home, at least, the policy on law firms is that you can't intern there until you're actually a law school student. I'm not sure if that's the same across the country, So I ended up like obviously not interning for a firm, but that could be different. I don't really have the statistics on that.
I think there's opportunities sometimes for students to pursue those. Like if you're looking for law school and you want to intern at a legal practice, there's certainly opportunities for it. But like Kara said, not everyone is going to be able to offer that to you. So sometimes it does take a little bit of research and a little bit of work before we can secure that internship in a law-related field. Um, but I mean, really, with the internships, don't feel like you only have to work at a law firm or somehow work as like an intern paralegal to really have a rewarding experience that sets you up for law school. A lot of our students will go and do the Washington semester looking at policy analysis. They work with congressional campaigns. There's a lot of ways that you can still set yourself up for law school without necessarily being an intern lawyer, if you will.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also think that law schools now look for a really well-rounded student. So it's totally not necessary that you have to do everything within the legal field. Like if there's an internship that interests you and it doesn't really have to do with law, I mean, they still want to see that. I think it matters that you have work ethic and you're dedicated, and like those are the qualities they care about. They don't really care that you were in a law firm specifically.
And I know Kara didn't mention this, but I will brag on her. She has been accepted to law programs as well. So I know she talked about being in the application phase, but she has been accepted herself. So you can take her experiences as proof that you can absolutely get into some really good law programs without having that law internship, if you will.
Yeah, it's I mean, in my experience at least, it hasn't been like a hindrance to my application process.
We have another question with a good one. How do you decide between a BA and a BS in political science? What would be the benefits of one over another, especially for someone who wants to run for public office? If I were to decide to change from a BS to a BA or a BS of one concentration to another, is that all right? That is a great question. And Kara, I think I'll take this one initially. It sounds a little more advising related, but feel free to chime in. With the BA and the BS, it's really personal preference. Especially when you're looking at public office, I don't know anyone who has run for any kind of public campaign and one of their detriments is they got a BA instead of a BS or a BS instead of a BA. I have never seen that used negatively against anyone in grad school applications, the job search, or any political campaign. So really, it is truly personal choice. If you find you have more of an interest in the math and science, I would recommend the Bachelor of Science degree. If you prefer a more broad discipline where you're taking a course from a variety of subject areas, then the Bachelor of Arts sounds like it might be a good fit for you. I know I'm being very vague, and that's because it's truly up to you and really your personal preference. If you want to switch from the BS to a BA, the good news is you have plenty of time to consider that really throughout your first year at Clemson, because you can make that switch pretty easily anytime. I even have students now, it's their spring semester of freshman year, or maybe it's their first semester at Clemson, and they're saying, hey, I'd like to switch from the BA to the BS or the BS to the BA. Even if you want to switch between concentrations, there's certainly time for that. And part of the advising approach that I have, we take the time to really explore all of those options as well. So even during an advising appointment, we can pull up the Bachelor of Arts, look at all the coursework for it. We can pull up the Bachelor of Science and look at every concentration. So you can really make the best decision for yourself. But flexibility is great. We can change it as needed. I really don't think there's a big social or educational difference between the BA or the BS. Kara, any thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, you're the one to talk about this, but I know for myself how I chose is like I'm not a math person and I know that about myself. So the BA was just an obvious choice, but I mean, I don't think it really has any difference of the level, like the quality of education you receive.
Your political science instructors are going to be the same regardless of the BA and the BS as well. So it's not like we have a subset of political science faculty who are going to instruct your Bachelor of Science coursework. You'll take the same faculty, you'll get the same level of instruction in political science either way you go. But it is a good question all the same. Any other questions at all? Kara, what would be one of your favorite political science courses you've taken?
Okay, well, I'm trying to remember course names specifically, which I don't think I can do, but I always really enjoyed theory classes. Um, I know I took one with Dr. Turner, and he was awesome, and he just made it so approachable. And I think that it was one of my first political science classes at Clemson. It's kind of daunting when there's all this information coming at you, but he made it really, really fun and easy to learn, and he made it so interesting that like I cared about learning it, and it really got me into like theories of political science. Like I've definitely taken electives in theory classes just because I loved his class. And like that also opened the door for philosophy. And I've taken a few classes in philosophy, which I never would have thought I would have liked until I took a theory course. So I really enjoyed that. And there was a religion and world politics class I took with Dr. Olson. And that class was super, super interesting. You really can't go wrong. I mean, there are some classes that you have to take and you're not going to love them as much as the ones that you elect to take, but none of them are not interesting.
And there are quite a few different theory courses as well. I mean, there's like political theory of the American founding. Is it like the political theory of capitalism, political theory of democracy? Like even within the subject of theory, there's even ways to further dive into specific areas within theory as well. Lots of political science topics as well. So even within like the Bachelor of Arts that Kara is doing, for example, the 9 credits of any political science course at the 3,000 level or higher contains, oh, I don't even know the number. It's an overwhelming amount of options for you, because really students can take a wide range of courses. And even with the Bachelor of Science, even if you want that concentration, there's still opportunities to take coursework outside that concentration as elective credits or other political science requirements and still get that education you want.
Also, to add on to that, in the BA, you like are required to take like one course in like American politics, one course in, there's a few of those categories. And I remember I had to take, it was like a comparative politics course. And like, I didn't think that I'd be interested in that at all. And I ended up taking Latin American politics to satisfy that requirement, and that being one of my favorite classes I've ever taken at Clemson. And I went into it thinking that it would not interest me whatsoever. So I think that keeping an open mind, and I really like now that Clemson requires you to take a class in each of the disciplines, because like, how would I ever have known to take that? And it ended up being a great course, and I learned a lot from it. So I think that those courses are awesome, and getting you to realize like what you like and what you don't, and kind of tailoring your own experience.
Awesome. And it looks like we have a couple more questions that came in. What are some of the law programs that Clemson students have been accepted to? I am not being dramatic. I am not embellishing. Like all of them. Like I'm not trying to be sarcastic. Like you name it, we have Clemson alums. Whether it's in-state South Carolina institutions based out of Chicago, all of the Ivy League law school programs have Clemson alums. Everything on the West Coast, the East Coast, North, South, even international. So actually, if you look at Dr. Garrison's pre-law website, he has that question as one of his FAQs. And I guess in a bit tongue-in-cheek response, he lists out every law school program that Clemson students have attended. And it's even on like a web link, it's got to be half the web page. It's just a list. And I tell you no lies, it is virtually every program that you can imagine. I know that's not the best answer, but it is the most accurate one I can give. We had another question about, is international relations similar to international labor relations in business? I would say international relations has a little bit more focus on the political side. However, within international relations, if you're doing a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science in that global politics focus, since it is a minor required, a popular minor there would be business administration or perhaps legal studies, which do offer more specific coursework in the business realm and allow you to take international business law and other coursework that might fit that more labor relations or business side of things too. So, don't think that political science is your only resource to take classes. I think there's a lot of ways at Clemson to combine different departments and subject areas to really set yourself up well. I mean, Kara's even a double major with psychology. So there's a lot of ways to kind of pull from other departments to really tailor your coursework. Sorry, Kara, I kind of took that one. I don't.
Oh, you're totally fine. I wouldn't have known anyway.
And then in the chat, since I know someone asked about the Lyceum program, if you just email, it's lyceum@clemson.edu. That's their general inquiry email. So you can ask them and say, hey, are you still accepting applications for the Lyceum Scholars program? And they'll be able to get you connected with somebody that can either help you complete the application or explore your next steps with the Lyceum program.
There was a question about visiting campus.
Yes. So the official Clemson policy is we are not hosting any formal campus tours. However, Clemson is a public university, so if you did want to visit campus, you would be allowed to walk around campus so long as you're following our mask guidelines, social distancing guidelines, and just be aware that you will most likely not be able to visit or go inside any of our buildings. So all of our buildings are pretty well restricted and have to have a prior COVID test, a negative COVID test to be clear, to gain access to those buildings. So if you want to visit campus, you can still absolutely drive to Clemson, walk around the area, walk around Clemson, but just be aware you won't be able to enter any buildings. And unfortunately, we just can't offer any guided tours, whether that's with a student ambassador or myself. If it makes you feel any better, even I don't have access to any classroom buildings right now. I've been working in a remote capacity for about a year, so I understand the desire to get on campus. And that's also why we host these events with Kara and myself, so we can hopefully give you a little bit better idea. But I know it doesn't scratch that in-person itch as much as you may like it to. How common is it to double major at Clemson with a political science degree? I don't know the specific statistics, but I would say we have quite a few students that will choose the double major option. So psychology is a pretty common option. Another common one is economics or criminal justice, sociology. Those are all really popular double major options. Even philosophy and history, if you can imagine, those have a lot of connections with political science. It's really at the student's discretion. If you feel like you can really tackle the double major coursework, or maybe you're coming in with a lot of credit hours and you're looking to extend your stay at Clemson and not try to graduate early, a double major is something we can absolutely look at. And that's one thing too, when we have those advising appointments, whether it's at orientation or maybe it's at the early start of the Clemson school year, we can actually have a meeting to talk about a graduation plan that plots out every degree requirement for a double major and would give you a pretty specific graduation timeline as well. And I actually really enjoy making those. I'm not saying that just to say that. Like they're kind of like a puzzle. So it's a lot of fun trying to kind of piece together a double major, a dual degree, to see how we can complete the coursework in an effective manner. So Kara, any advice about getting involved at Clemson? Because I know you're a very involved student. So maybe as a first semester student coming into Clemson, what are some tips about getting involved?
I would say, I know we mentioned Tiger Prowl, so I'll get into that a little bit more. It's basically like if we had been in person, it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's every student org on campus has like a table, and if you wanted to get involved, you kind of just go and quickly visit. You can chat with the student org leaders to kind of see what their organization's about. So that takes place at the beginning of the year and every spring semester, right? Every spring semester. Yeah. So I would say definitely get involved with that. We did it this year virtually, and I think it went pretty well. But yeah, I mean, that's a great way to get info about all these organizations. And as far as getting involved, like I think just try everything, go into everything with an open mind and obviously within reason, like don't spread yourself out too thin. But like if anything sounds interesting, even remotely, like go to one meeting and see if you like it. And you don't have to be involved with everything, but by kind of sampling, you can really find your people that way and you'll find these organizations that like you really love spending time with. And I think that's how you make Clemson like your home and find your place within it.
That is awesome. 100% agree. And the higher ed research shows that students who are involved in at least 1 to 2 student orgs on average have a greater retention rate, a greater graduation rate, and on average have a higher GPA. So I always recommend getting involved with at least 1 to 2 orgs. And don't feel like you have to stay within the political science realm either. You know, if you even have a hobby or an interest, go for it. You know, get connected with a hobby or a passion. Because even with a law program like Kara mentioned, they're looking for a well-rounded student. So they aren't necessarily looking for a political science expert. They're looking for somebody that is really growing as a complete and a holistic individual. So maybe you enjoy movies. Maybe you want to get involved with a social Greek or social organization with a fraternity or sorority. That's an option too. You know, really take the time to really explore yourself and see what you might like. I think there's even a chocolate milk club. That's always like my go-to organization that's kind of off the wall a little bit. I think they just get together and drink chocolate milk. Yeah, I mean, it can be that simple as getting together and really having that sense of community.
No, there really is a club for everything. Like any interest you could possibly have, there's more than likely a student org for that. So, I mean, like we've been saying, if you're interested, just try it out. And also, I know definitely for law school, like as Troy was just saying, they look for people that are so well rounded, and that's a great way to get a head start. They also look for people in leadership positions. So, if you kind of get involved early, your chances of becoming a leader in these organizations definitely increase. And that's a huge plus on a law school application. So, I mean, it's early to be thinking about that, but it is good to keep that in mind.
So that actually leads us to our the last question we have here. Is it hard to become a leader at Clemson due to the amount of students enrolled?
I wouldn't say, no, I wouldn't say it's hard to become a student leader. I mean, I don't honestly know how it works for every organization, but I think that if you get in with something pretty early in your Clemson career and you kind of prove to the current student leaders that you're dedicated and you're really into this and you care, then whether elections are held or there's appointments, like you'll be considered in the running. So, and also if you're interested in something that there isn't a student org for, you can go ahead and create that and then you're the student leader. So I definitely don't think it's hard to become a leader.
100% agree. And I understand it can be daunting to look at the size of a university like Clemson and say, there's no way I can be a student leader. But I would also challenge the idea that a student leader is only reserved to a handful of students. So obviously we have like a student government organization, and that's where a lot of folks tend to think, you know, that's our student leaders. And that is a great example. But there's also ways to become a leader on campus that might not be, you know, the most public facing, but still give you that excellent leadership role, whether it's student organizations. Kara's on our college advisory board for undergraduate students. That's a leadership role. You know, there's a lot of ways to become a leader, whether it's in political science or at Clemson. A lot of it is just getting connected early. And also, as a personal advice, just ask questions and try to get to know as many of your instructors, get to know as many of your staff and fellow students as you can. Because you never know who you might talk to that might lead you to an internship connection. A lot of internships are either through the Career Center with some of our alumni networks with their own connections, but a lot of students also get to know each other and hear about internship opportunities through their own personal networks. So it's a great opportunity at Clemson, especially, who really takes a lot of pride in making sure all of our students are well connected. I think on average, we're like the top 10 or top 5 happiest campus in the nation too, which is kind of a neat stat. Like our students really crave that connection with each other. So, you know, reach out, get connected with each other. You never know who you might talk to that could really shape your future. That was a long-winded way to say, yes, it's easy to become a leader, student leader at Clemson.
Well, and to jump on what you were just saying, I know we talked about it a little, but doing research with professors, I mean, that's in it of itself a leadership position. Like
Mhm.
you show interest and it pays off because you get to be a part of like this elite team. And I mean, that looks great on job applications, on law school applications. And I mean, putting yourself out there more than likely is going to pay off in some way.
And Kara's heard this from me a time or two already, but I am like full of cliches, and like you'll hear it in your advising appointments with me a lot. But one of my biggest cliches is the answer is no until you ask. So until you really put yourself out there and ask the question, take advantage of an opportunity and really go out and try for it, the answer is no already. So at least make the effort, at least put yourself out there and see if this opportunity leads somewhere for you. That's my only cliche I will say in this entire meeting. I'll save them all for our advising appointments. And I know we're at about 7:57 right now, so I do want to be mindful of everyone's time. We will plan to wrap up right at about 8 o'clock. So any last minute questions that haven't been answered or anything else about the student experience from Kara you want to hear more about? And I'm also going to put my email address and the email address of our faculty advisor, Dr. Warber. So to give you a little bit more detail about that, like I mentioned in my presentation, I serve as the freshman and sophomore advisor for political science students. Once a political science student is a junior by credit hours, so that's 60 credit hours or more, they're reassigned to a faculty advisor for their further advising to kind of round out their degree. And that faculty advisor is Dr. Warber. So I have his email address and mine in the chat. That way y'all can follow up with him if you have questions from the faculty side, but also email me. It is pre-registration advising season, so my response may be delayed ever so slightly, but I welcome emails from y'all. Like, please, if there's something I can do to help answer questions or help get you more connected, I'd be happy to help. Oh, and somebody asked about, we had two questions. So someone asked about the recording. So I will have this recording saved shortly after this meeting. So if you can, try to email me directly, and I will try to provide a copy of that. And then, Kara, your favorite Clemson memory? That is such a good question.
Oh my God, that's a great question. I don't know if I could even like nail down just one. This sounds so cheesy, but like everyone you meet loves Clemson so much, and it's not this act. Like everyone truly does love Clemson. So when I say that I can't figure out like what my favorite memory would be, it's because I really can't. But like some of the ones that stand out to me, like obviously Clemson football is amazing, and like being on campus on a game day, everyone's in their orange, like just that infectious spirit is not a specific memory, but like it is just that's amazing to me. And it's always been like those have always been some of the most fun days on campus. Obviously, that's not an academic memory. But and then recently there was Clemson Ring ceremony, which if you guys don't know about that, when you reach a certain level in your undergrad experience, like a certain credit hour number, you're entitled to a Clemson ring. I'm actually wearing it right now. And it's this big tradition. It symbolizes like you're almost done, like it's this big thing. And there's a big ceremony that goes along with it. You get to meet President Clements. He shakes your hand. I mean, for us, it was during COVID, so clearly a different experience than normal, but like it just reminds you of why you're so proud to go to this school, and like it just floods back all the happy memories. And I mean, I could go on and on about what I love about Clemson, but you'll have to see when you get here. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So once you're a senior, so 90 credit hours or more, then you're eligible to receive your Clemson ring. And that is one of my favorite traditions that Clemson does. So much so, I plan on going back for a graduate degree just so I can get a Clemson ring and wear that with pride myself. But I know we're at 8:01, so I already broke my own rule about being over at 8. But I do want to thank Kara for joining us, and I do want to thank y'all for joining us as well. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully you've gotten some good info about this. But if any questions do arise, because I do know, as soon as that presentation ends, you're like, oh, dang, I should have asked that question, or, something popped up, reach out to us. I have my email address. I have Dr. Warber's address. Stay in touch, and I will absolutely be happy to provide recordings and answer any questions that y'all may have, okay? But I do appreciate y'all, and I think we'll shut down the meeting now, so I appreciate it. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you for coming, guys. Come to Clemson.